Is now a good time to buy in the Pittsburgh market? We're going to get into that today. With inventory, rates, and prices shifting right now in this market, let's talk through all of these items and determine whether or not we think it's a good idea to buy in the Pittsburgh market right now. So as we know, mortgage interest rates last week, maybe the week before that, right now we're in the back end of September in 2025. Rates continue to creep down. And so last week, what we're finding is that most conventional rate financing, we're in that 6.25% range. FHA VA government financing, we're now in that 5.5% to 5.75% range. So interest rates right now are better than they were this summer. And generally speaking, the market tends to pick up in our spring and summer, and then does continue to kind of go through the fall, and then usually our first quarter is the slowest month for us in the real estate market here in Pittsburgh, just due to the seasons and changes and things like that. And so what that means is we now have more affordability than we did this summer. So when we're talking interest rates are down a little bit. How much further are they going to go down? That's something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on. However, something to think about. Most people say, well, I'm going to wait until mortgage rates come down. I'm going to wait until rates hit 5%. What happens then when rates hit 5%, it becomes more affordable. So that home that most people couldn't afford at $400,000, they can now afford it. So what happens? That brings more buyers into the market. And right now, because our inventory levels are still below pre-COVID levels, prices are most likely to increase. And right now we're seeing a steady incline, steady appreciation in Pittsburgh as usual. We're seeing a few markets that are coming down. We're seeing other markets that are doing better, and we'll get into a little bit more of that later. But when we talk about mortgage rates and inventory, these are the two things that we're really keeping an eye on, because as affordability gets better and as we're able to afford more, what does that do? That brings more buyers into the market. Buyers can afford higher price ranges. And so what happens then? We tend to get back into competitive bidding. We tend to get back into multiple offer scenarios. And what happens? Prices go up. So if you were able to buy that home right now, had 6.25%, and we had to wait another year and a half until rates got down to 5%, how much would that home appreciate, and how much would you actually have to pay for that home down the road? And so usually the conversation that we're having right now is as inventory slowly creeps up, and we're on the steady incline, as you may have seen in the last market report video that we did, we're nowhere near the inventory that we're seeing across the country. We're still below pre-COVID levels. We're still technically a seller's market, because most areas in our market are under 60 days of inventory. While you may see some competitive bidding right now, as we slowly inch along and creep up, buyers are able to find some deals right now. So if you can get in and you can find a home that makes sense to you right now, and you might be able to get some seller financing or seller assist, or you may be able to build in some negotiation room, or you may be able to get some money back to help make some updates. If you can do those things in a market like this, you're getting ahead, because more likely than not, the Pittsburgh market is not going to see a decline in pricing. You may see a decline in pricing. You're already seeing it in Austin and Miami and all the same areas that went down in 2008. You're going to continue to see that. Could we see a pullback? Yes, of course. Could we see a flattening? Yes, of course. But over the long term, Pittsburgh's pretty much, other than these kind of crazy COVID years, Pittsburgh's always been a 2 to 3% appreciation in real estate. We're still one of the most affordable cities in the nation, right? Something that plays into some of the trends in Pittsburgh, right? Like, we're still one of the most affordable places to buy a home. We still have one of the lowest income to home value ratios in the country, right? And so when we see all these things about affordability, we're still very affordable. People are still buying homes within their means. And we go to some of these other markets, they're maxing out everything they've got. Their ratios are as high as they can go to technically qualify for it. So even the littlest problem causes a problem in those markets, because everybody's house poor, right? And we're just not that in Pittsburgh. And so the trend, we're going to continue to see appreciation. So this fall, winter, I think, is a great opportunity to purchase. The market isn't booming right now like it was the last few years. We've seen some slower months. We've seen some some more competitive months, depending upon your price point, depending upon what market you're in, because we're very localized here. Depending upon what price point, market, neighborhood, area, street to street, whatever that is right now, homes are going to be flying or homes are going to be sitting longer. And so what we're able to do a lot of times with home buyers that are working with us is, let's look at the trends. Let's look at what's happening. How many homes are on the market? What's the active competition? How many price reductions have they been having? Can we build in some seller assist? Can we find that home that doesn't have maybe the perfect kitchen that you're looking for, but we're buying FHA financing and we can get 6% back towards seller assist, so we keep that money in our pocket to make a kitchen update later down the road. You're basically financing in what you could get in a price reduction. You can get that money back, keep that cash in your pocket, and make updates and repairs. And so if you can find a home right now that maybe needs a little bit of work, you can put some sweat equity in. These are the best deals to find right now. These are the ones that you should be going after. If we can come in and put some money into this home, build a little bit of equity over time, we're going to protect ourselves against any future ups and downs that the real estate market's going to have. And from that same point, some places that you probably want to be careful right now: buying at the absolute top of any market, buying new construction right now when there's a ton of homes waiting to be built. There's a lot of home builders right now with massive incentives. And so if I just bought in that community and I paid the max value, and now they're giving away $30,000 in incentives to the next home buyers, what are they doing? They're devaluing the property that I just bought. And so when you're buying new construction, or you're buying in a new construction townhome community, or some of these things, like, you just have to be careful the price that you're paying, the square footage that you're buying in, especially if you know you're not going to be there over the long term. That's a risky play. And so one of the conversations that we're having with every home buyer is, we need to know how long you plan to be there. What's the long-term approach? Do we have the ability to make updates, repairs, all these things? Like, you need to be working with somebody who's going to take you through that entire process, so that not only do you have the purchase in mind and find a place that you really want to be and you'd be happy in, but you also now are planning for the future sale of that in the equity analysis. How do we build equity in that home? How do we protect you if you need to want to sell in the future? How do we set you up for success? Because, when you come and call us in 5 years and say, hey, we need to sell this home, we want to tell you a great number. We want to be able to make you money on that, and then we can move you on to the next one. So as always, if there's anything that we can do, if you're thinking about buying a home, if you're thinking about selling a home in the Pittsburgh market right now, you really need to work with a pro, because it is a different real estate market than it ever has been. It's really localized. They need to know the market. They need to know the trends. They need to know what's happening in these particular areas. You need to be able to talk through how long you're going to be there, the future value of this property, what you're going to end up looking at down the road. And obviously, we have no crystal ball. We can't predict the future, but we're trying to make the best, most educated guess with our home buyers, to make sure that we're protecting them and setting them up for success in the future. So as always, if there's anything that we can do, please feel free to reach out to us anytime with questions, concerns, want to look at properties, want to get set up on a home search, just give us a shout. We're here to help. Thanks.